Can you feel it? Indeed, we are back. It is round number 8 here from Singapore. And as you can see here in Tier 3, it is absolutely flooding it with rain. It's what we always love to see when Singapore comes around. Go ahead and get my volume there turned up. Nice and beautifully done. We are just about to get underway. 31 laps around the streets of Singapore under the lights. And it does look like it's going to be one of the Ferraris first out of the pit lane. We'll go ahead and see which one of them it is. All-important question. And it does appear... Is it Mr. Fernie? It is Mr. Fernie. And on the Ferrari, still sitting right atop of the Constructors' Championship, sitting with a nice gap to the Mercedes. Alternating point tallies between Ferrari and Mercedes the last two races, picking up 25 points in Monaco was the Ferrari, but 22 points to the 13 that Ferrari collected in Bahrain. Sees us exactly where they are now. It could be an interesting guess of tire choice here in this 18-minute qualifying session. Fernie electing on the full wet tires, the full treaded blue-walled tires on that Ferrari, and needs to do everything humanly possible to go ahead and get those up to temperature. It's going to be a challenge to do so in such conditions, but the Red Scarlet just racing around, trying to fire those up. You see on the left-hand side, two drivers at the moment, still in the pit lane, but potentially pondering the idea of the intermediate tire. Could we see those as we head later into the session? Time will only tell. We've already lost 2.5 minutes from this session with drivers trying to figure out what the tire to be on is. Looks like Legends as well, as you can see there on the left-hand side, he was on the intermediate tire, had flipped back to the full wet. Ferrari as well, collecting points in every single race this season, double-digit points between both cars. Fernie himself was a great finish last week, but for his teammate, that is, both place finish, just collecting that lone point for Bernie, along with the fastest lap, always important to grab. And he's going to look to lay down a pretty fast lap here. This corner right here in the wet, very, very treacherous. Easy to lose the back end. You see the counter steering a little bit in the cockpit, but now the fastest part of the track here. This is one of the few overtaking spots around the streets of Singapore. Gets on that curve very nicely, hits the apex, curb on the outside, very nicely done, my friend. As they head into the succession of acceleration and braking zones, heading through the middle sector. Multiple DRS points on this track. This track had changed formats just a few years ago. You remember the chicane under the grandstand that had originally launched cars. It was the slingshot chicane for a year until it was eventually calmed down, but nevertheless, they've decided that we need a little more speed on this track. We need more overtaking points. As Fernie there going through one of the overtaking points on what is a slow track but a rather wide one. There are places to go. His teammate's going to... Oh, boy. Ferrari are not going to like to see that one as he just gets out of the way, maybe. Did he impede his lap? Did he not? I'm sure discussions in the Ferrari team chat will likely go a-flying. As Fernie, the first to set a lap this evening, gives us a 150.8. We have to just kind of keep an eye on how everyone does in the elements. It's not something you can easily practice now. There's no way to really put into perspective your lap time and the way that you can work on things. As Dex goes ahead pops that time by 0.8 of a second, a 150.0, but we're on board now with our new championship leader, courtesy of 3 wins in a row. Edge for McLaren now sits atop the Drivers' Championship by 2 points as we head in to the late stages of this season. On the intermediate tire is the McLaren, and it's going to be interesting to see what lap time he can put in. If he sets a very, very quick lap time, even by his standards, it might signal to the rest of the field with only 6 minutes gone here in the qualifying that it's already time to loosen up the tread, to get the green walled tires on that Pirelli provides every single weekend, and go ahead and switch to the intermediate. Edge about to come across the line, a 149.6, so about 0.4 of a second faster than the wet weather tire. We'll go ahead and jump on with Capex, who's just now heading into the middle sector, has had to relinquish his championship lead. He's still got a podium last week, but it wasn't enough to sit atop. Again, those 3 wins from Edge have, well, really caused some issues for Capex. You see 7 there, a 148.9. So the wet weather tire is still definitely usable by, call it 0.6 of a second. Capex goes very, very wide there, misjudging the braking point in the wet, as it's so easy to do. Being pinned left, right, and center. In the Discord, we were getting tagged. Someone asking a question. This is when I'm not in the window. I have no idea, Panda. I would have to dig into it a little bit with you. We can do that another time. But Capex now losing the back end slightly out of the final corner. Still putting in a very, very good lap time of 149.1. You wonder if Edge is maybe heading on another lap, if potentially a lot of the drivers have fueled for some extra laps, as we see so often in adverse conditions. Go ahead, stick on board with Edge as he comes through the final couple of corners, looking for 4 wins in succession for McLaren. Not only has he rocketed himself up the Drivers' Championship, but McLaren getting back involved with the Constructors' Championship as well. However, a lack of a second driver today could be their downfall. We'll go ahead and see who is next to cross the line. I believe Miggy is about to finish a lap. Alpine has definitely been in the wars of late, but he'll improve his position up to 6th with a 150.3. But I believe it was Zona that just threw in a lap. No, it most certainly wasn't. It was no idea who it was that just jumped in, but we'll, I'm sure, find that out later. Toasty now heading through the middle sector, as is Legends, who's invalidated his lap. And it's the Racing Bull of Young who's coming around the final corner now. Still yet to set a lap, potentially invalidated before. Coming through the final corner, that rain light flickering, and catapults himself up to 2nd place, a 148.9 for the Racing Bull. Could there be trouble in our normal podium positions tonight? Time will only tell. We're under the 10-minute mark of this qualifying session. You see there the McLaren. Is that a McLaren? Is that that's the Gulf Williams, I believe. The Gulf Williams. Dylan rocking that one very nicely, as Mark is gonna go ahead and pick up a 5-place grid penalty for the man who had it so rough in Bahrain last week. That is not what he wants to see on his timing screen, but during all of that, Edge going in, pumping in a 147.1, so 1.8 seconds faster than 2nd place. The intermediate tire most certainly the tire now to be on. That will absolutely signal to the rest of the field that it's time to bring it in. We may have a Red Bull that has run astray. It could have also been Dex trying to get out of the way. Is he missing a wing? He absolutely is missing a front wing on that Red Bull. So an incident there for Dex. He still sees himself in 7th, but he'll want to go ahead and grab a new piece of hardware on the front of that car. That will not be doing him any favors. Let's see here. Check on some other progress around the track. Mark and Legends. Mark with a 5-place grid penalty. Heading into now the pit lane on his outlap. So maybe just getting a feel for the intermediate tires, saying, is this the right one to be on, guys? Are we sure? With under 7 minutes to go, it is Legends. We've got a Wi-Fi password that has taken over the Sauber. I'll figure out how to say that one here shortly. Legends and Mark and our Wi-Fi password yet to set times here in this one. The benchmark of a 1:47.1, or another track qualifying, so important. Where again, it's not quite like Monaco where there's absolutely nowhere to go, but with as many braking zones and as few overtaking points as there are, getting in front off the start is always critical. We'll go ahead as we wait for a couple more drivers at the top to come out and start their laps, as Legend's going to finalize warming his tires and his Alpine. We'll rocket around this track under the lights here in Singapore as he rides that outside curve very nicely. Very nicely done for the French outfit. 7 also now just starting a lap. The man in 2nd place as of now. Front row of the grid for the Ferrari. And 1:48.9 currently for 7, the man who sits in 3rd in the championship. He finished 4th last week. Looking to regain a step on the podium, looking to regain ground on edge, is Dylan now recently moving to Williams. Has finished out his contract with McLaren. Williams picked him up, and he's gone fastest. A 1:46.7. We'll call it a 1:46.8, as it's only 1,000th of a second away, and 7 doing a nice job there, drifting through that corner as he heads into the depths of the middle sector. So important to get this traction zone here, and he does very well. What can the Scuderia do to get one of their drivers on pole? Fernie has started his lap as well. He currently sits in 6th place. Fresh intermediate tires for him. Fresh intermediate tires for a majority of the grid now. Arrow Knight, the only one electing to do fresh, wet weather tires. A 46.2 now for Legends. This track ramping up very quickly with under 4 minutes to go. And 7, as you see on your screen right there, our fastest time by a mile of the evening, a 44.8. We'll go ahead and see who is next across the line. It is not going to be Toasty. It's likely the Red Bull of Dex on his outlap. Where is Capex? Capex is just now coming through the end of the middle sector, so that would be his teammate Zona. We've yet to see him yet, but he's headed into the pit lane. Interesting decision. Very interesting decision late on here in qualifying, but his teammate still out on track, still trying to work his way back up there to regain his championship lead as he comes around what is now the final corner. Can Capex improve on that original 1:49.1, comes across the line and goes fastest, a 44.7, the new benchmark here this evening. And when 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go, you would expect to see a plethora of times begin to be punched in, starting with the Ferrari. Fernie now coming around that final corner. What can he do? Can he top that time? Only third fastest, a 45.2, sits astern his teammate. Who is next to come across the line? The Sauber of U6 has gone into 6th. Go ahead, jump on board with not that Alpine, but the other Alpine of Legends, who's invalidated that lap, taking multiple laps of fuel on board. Smartly done from the Alpine driver. The Aston Martin of NASCAR Freak, I believe, just crossing the line of 146.8 for him. You can imagine the is 7 going to go ahead and do another lap? He absolutely is. Under 2 minutes to go in qualifying. It is now or never for some of these drivers. Edge on his outlap as Dex, a new fastest lap, a 44.2. The track is getting drier. The track is ramping up. The rain has certainly lightened, and the intermediate tire is certainly the one to be on now. Keep an eye on Edge. We'll keep an eye on Capex, who I believe just is about to now come across the line, is the Mercedes. As Young, a 44.2. Can Capex improve? Yes, he can. A 43.9, and he's still got time to put in another lap, should he wish to do so. But it's Edge now, finding himself down in 11th. Only the one lap done on the wet weather tire for the McLaren. Winner of 3 straight is, I think, a Sauber has just straight-lined the corner. He absolutely has. That is the car of Aero Knight, who has just absolutely flown into the corner. Lost a bit of his wing, and that will likely spell the end of qualifying for the Italian outfit. Nevertheless, Edge now just coming through this third sector. Both Ferraris, I believe, are also on new laps, as Fernie had come across the line. 7 also about to come across the line to set his, could be potentially a final lap, but it's not going to be. 7 promoting himself into second. Can he get one more lap in? A 43.9 is now what is needed for second place. Capex, you would imagine as well, looking to improve on the 43.9 that he has as well. He leads by 0.04 of a second. Can Edge top all of them? Can Edge get around that Ferrari? Hope it's not an issue. It could become an issue later. The McLaren now heading into the middle sector. Plenty of cars as well out on laps. Just about the entire grid is out on laps. The 2 Alpines currently sat 5th and 6th. They're astern on the grid. And Mark, the only one not to set a time, he collected a 5-place grid penalty early on in this one. Elected not to participate in the rest of qualifying. He'll make up places in the race, where I'm sure Edge now whipping that papaya car through the third sector. He needs to find a little bit more than 3.5 seconds, I think, and he's well on his way to do so. A fastest middle sector for Edge. As Legends now a 43.6 to lead the way here in Singapore. The Alpine coming almost out of nowhere, but can Edge rain on their parade? Coming through the final corner, the McLaren now. What can he put in? It is fastest, and it is by 1 second. A 142.6 is the benchmark for Edge. Can 7 go ahead and top that? Dex has moved himself into second place as well. A 42.9, and the Ferrari will bring it into the pit lane. That is all she wrote for qualifying, as Aero Knight goes ahead and does just the same. And the man who's won the last 3 races is on pole once more. looking to continue his dominating run here in Tier 3. Go ahead and get that Ferrari and Sauber pushed back into the garage. Have confirmation of the final qualifying results. There you have it. The Canadian on pole once more for a third week running. Legends there, maybe to the surprise of this one, but Dex shares the front row with Edge. Capex in fourth, 7 in fifth. Young, Fernie, and Miggy, NASCAR and Toasty round out the top 10. Zonog couldn't find his way onto the intermediate tire, along with Arrow Knight and Mark. The Chinaman sat in last with that 5-place grid penalty, not having set a time. It is 31 laps in the night of Singapore. What looks to be dry conditions, however, never really know here. Conditions can change rather quickly. Go ahead, just wait. Green light to go on this one. Rain in the forecast is rain not in the forecast. Only the drivers will know at the moment, but they will not know exactly when that will hit. Singapore, known for its changing conditions, known to be extremely difficult. Storyline here. Can Edge make it 4 in a row? He's put himself in a great position to do so. In the context of the Drivers' Championship, it worked out nicely for Edge. Capex's championship rival down the field as the lights come on. They're held for a while, but it's lights out and away we go. You can see there multiple different strategies employed by the drivers as they head 3 wide into turn 1. Plenty of cars running wide as they make their way now 1 by 2. Looks like everybody has kept it the right way. The Williams of Dillon sinking through the field ever so slightly. The hard tire runners not finding joy in the first couple of corners, but it's Edge from Dex. Legends has maintained his spot. Capex down in 4th. He's right on the tail of that Alpine who runs wide. That might give the position to the Mercedes. It doesn't for now. The Alpine staying in front as Edge blasts off into the night. Miggy, the lead runner on the hard tire. Arrow Knight seems to have had an issue. He now trails at the back as NASCAR Freak is out, and he is out in spectacular fashion. That Aston Martin was sideways against the fence, and that certainly is going to be an issue. Zonod's missing a front wing, and surely contact between the Mercedes and the Aston Martin led to that incident. That was one of the more intriguing ways we've seen a car left on track, certainly in my time. But nevertheless, we'll go ahead and just pull up who's the biggest winners and losers. Dylan and Mark, the 2 Williams, doing a great job to get up into the field as the VSC has ended and Capex has been caught out Fernie and Capex have swapped positions early on in this one. As he tries to go for another move, they make contact. There's the Ferrari and the Alpine. Legends having to maintain the car and make it go forward. Ferrari now. Can Fernie... Oh, does make contact with the wall. 7 also in the pit lane as well. You wonder if that Ferrari was involved in that lap 1 incident with the Aston Martin. Nevertheless, the Ferrari's now absolutely out of position as DRS enabled for everybody within a second. And it's a good thing, too, because first down to 9th, all within a second of each other. Capex, Fernie, and Young look to be the battle at the moment. Dex and Edge are starting to break free from the Alpine of Legends for 3rd place, but corners come thick and fast here in Singapore. It is very, very difficult to gain time, but time will be gained there by the Ferrari. As Legends ran wide, can he make the move? Heading on the outside. Not this time. Legends does very well as the switch back there for Fernie. Could it be? They're wheel to wheel, but I don't think it's going to take place as Fernie missing a little bit of front wing. It might be the left front end plate. That left front end plate on the Ferrari is absolutely missing, potentially due to that contact earlier with Legends. This battle could be raging on for some time as Edge goes ahead and throws the fastest lap of the session in at 33.6 from the McLaren, who is absolutely racing away, but Fernie now suffering with that wing damage. Capex has re-overtaken the Ferrari. They're still going to battle this out. Heading now into turn 4. Who will concede this fight as we head down the straight? It's Capex that comes out ahead of that wounded Ferrari. DRS now. Legends and Dex are going to go ahead and swap places. The Alpine, courtesy of DRS, up into 2nd place. You can see Capex and Fernie. Fernie still hasn't let this battle go. They make contact a little bit. That opens the door for Young. The Racing Bull now has interest in P5 and does get up into 5th position. What an opportunistic move there from the Racing Bull to just pick his moment with Capex and Fernie fighting. Fernie dealing with that wing damage to the Ferrari. How much is that affecting his race pace? It's certainly lost him at least 2 positions so far. Young doing a very, very nice job to just bide his time and get that move done. Into 5th goes the Racing Bull. Meanwhile, Edge has leaked out a lead of just about now 3 seconds as, we've lost U6. The Wi-Fi password may have just tangled with his teammate. And you see there, he's stranded and he is out of this race. The kick Sauber, now the 2nd casualty of the evening. Not the full safety car, but it is the virtual one, as Fernie's smartly done here. Fernie using this opportunity to head into the pit lane. The hard tire going on. No wing change. And you see, yeah, absolutely missing that left front end plate as multiple now drive-through penalties issued out. Young, Miggy, and Dylan all catching the bad part of the track as the VSC ended. You see Dex and Legends now going at it. The Mercedes of Capex is involved as well. Around the outside goes the Mercedes. The Alpine staying ahead for now. The Mercedes down the inside of the Red Bull. Capex, the man in 2nd place, looking to regain that championship lead. Doing so very nicely up into 3rd place. Edge has leaked out that lead even more as this battle rages on behind him. That only profits the McLaren. 4.2 seconds now after the 2nd virtual safety car restart. You see there, Legends just sometimes struggles on the exit, but doesn't want to give the slipstream to those behind him. Pulls out wide to not allow that to happen. As this is the battle for 2nd place. This battle involving Legends, Capex, Dex, and Young, who had made that move earlier, has now just had to console himself to P5, and he also has that drive-through penalty to contend with as well. When will they come in to serve those penalties? We'll have to wait and see, as And seeing Legends there, knowing, sensing that the Capex is going to head down his inside. He's got the move done as the corner starts in Capex 12. The Mercedes, which is the Alpine, wobbles on corner exit up into second place, where he currently sits in the Drivers' Championship, can now hunt down his championship rival Edge out in front. These gaps are starting to widen maybe a little bit more as, well, Legends have another look down the inside of Capex. Can he keep it tight? Will Capex have the release off the corner? Has the outside line, goes for the switchback, does the Mercedes, but I believe it's not going to quite come off. Legends with the inside part of the track still has the move done, regains second place, but Capex might not be done with this one, thinks better of it. Heading into a corner notoriously difficult to overtake in this part of the track 7, with that free air now setting the fastest lap of the race after an early pit stop. No wing change. It's the now the medium tire. I thought we saw him. It was Fernie who went onto the hard compound tire 7. Early pit stop for him. Medium tires, sits at the back of the grid. But, oh, that was a Red Bull getting well out of sorts. Dex nearly seeing the end of his race. And another man by the looks who's got left front end plate damage. That Red Bull is slightly wounded coming through these final corners. You can see how much it's destabilizing the car. Young now into the pit lane to serve that drive-through penalty, as is Dylan, that they both collected under the VSC for speeding. I'm sure they will be contesting that one here later tonight. But as of right now, they will go ahead and have to serve that one for the time being. Capex now trying to resume this battle with the Alpine of Legends as he heads around the outside. Can he keep it together? He shoves him wide as the Alpine closes the door. But Capex is going to resume this battle. They make contact. They're still squabbling on the exit of the corner. They're still side by side heading into the next section of corners. Capex now using that battery. They're side by side, but not for too much longer. As the Mercedes now almost pushing the Alpine through this middle sector. Needs to find a way past. All of this squabbling has caused an 8.5 second gap out front. Edge has coasted away from the field. Effortlessly done with the battling behind him with the VSCs, the drive-thrus, the damage to probably most of the cars now. He has managed to keep his McLaren pointed in one direction. And oh, this Legend spins and he collects Capex. Oh, there's contact between the Alpine and he reset to track. He reset to track. And Mark has gone ahead and taken damage as well. No, we can't be doing that. Legends is going to kick himself on corner exit. Was there contact with Capex? How much damage does the Mercedes have on him? He's also now missing a left front end plate, but Mark's going to say, what on earth just teleported in front of me? I can tell you right now, it was the Alpine of Legends who had spun in a circle. Capex looking to finally get that second position done. Can he do so without a complete front wing? Not on this occasion. Dex is going to fight this one out. Still holding the position. Neither driver with that, with a complete front wing by the looks. As Young is going to go ahead and get past Fernie. Those medium tires still working well for the Racing Bull. Can the Ferrari fight this one back? No, he cannot for the time being. Back up to the battle for second. Into the hairpin we go. It's Capex and Dex who are battling for this position after contact just a few corners ago between the Mercedes and the Alpine of Legends. That's seen the Alpine take significant damage. Damage done to the Williams of Mark as well. Both of them pitting for new tires and probably new wings as well. They will have to restart their charges towards the front. This is likely the best battle that we have at the moment. Young and Fernie are going to be duking this one out for 5th place. The Ferrari DRS open around the outside, attempts the Ferrari. They make a little bit of contact on corner exit. Does the Ferrari have the position? Well, he's got to make sure he's got the position, showing the Racing Bull into the wall. But somehow that white car of Young has stayed in front and took DRS as well. Nicely done there to keep the Ferrari at bay, but for how much longer? Back up to the battle for second. There's more contact between the Red Bull and the Mercedes. Capex down the inside. Not this time, says Dex. Shows him that rear wing of the Red Bull, that flashing light, showing that no battery is left. Can Capex look for a move? This would be an audacious move. Elects not to. Can he? Oh, he looked to go for a move there. Knew it wouldn't come off. Smartly backed out of it. The Mercedes struggling to find a way through. And is that elusive second position for the man sitting second in the championship. And for Red Bull, I mean, this second place would be a complete godsend for them. It has been 2 weeks since they last scored significant points. And a podium position here would be great for them tonight, but Capex is going to look to improve on his current podium position. Can he finally get past the Red Bull? Looks to the inside of turn 1 and has the move done before the corner. The challenge now for the Mercedes. We've seen him get up into second place. Can he keep the car behind in third place? That has been the challenge here. Can he do just that? It looks like that gap of 7/10 is going to allow him to do so. We'll go ahead, stick on board just in case it's not. The battery absolutely being deployed, but not quite enough for the Red Bull, as Dex is going to have to concede this battle for the time being. Meanwhile, Edge has gone ahead, now 17 seconds up the road in 9 laps. The pace from the McLaren approaching a level of ridiculousness. Go ahead, take a look at some other battles on track. Fernie and Young still battling for 5th place. Fernie dealing with a little bit of a time penalty that he'll have to contend with at the end of this race that will be tacked onto his time. As you can see on your timing charts there, Capex and Dex have fallen about 1.5 seconds apart. That battle for second now firmly in the hands of the Mercedes. Is a spin there from Young on the exit of the corner. And, oh, he needs to be really careful as Miggy has had to take evasive action as to not completely T-bone the Racing Bull. And this has formed a little bit of a train now, as Miggy, who had a nice little gap to 7th place, has been promoted into 6th, but now has company of Zonon and Young, who has corrected his course, headed in the right direction now. The Racing Bull trying to regain that P6, and Dex and Capex are going to go ahead and resume their battle for P2. It must have been a monster final sector for the Red Bull. Is he going to look to make the move on the Mercedes? Not this time. Not this time. The outfit from Milton Keynes not able to find their way through on that occasion. Meanwhile, we'll swap to the battle for 6 once more. Young now into the pit lane. Hard tire heading on, which leaves Zonon and Miggy. Zonon, who hasn't had much of a notable race so far, gets that move done, moves up into 6th position, and shows his team that he is absolutely still one to watch. Mercedes needing all the points that they can get to track down Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship. They're looking in good position to do so thus far. We'll move up to the battle now for 4th. So we've got a yellow flag. It looks like the Racing Bull of Young has led astray once more, and he's in a bit of an issue, spinning once again as the Racing Bull. Looks like he's back headed the right way, and life is in good shape once more for the Italian outfit let's go ahead and see. We'd imagine pit stops will be coming here soon, especially for the likes of Edge, Capex, and Dex. But you would almost think, can Edge just hang out here for another lap? He's almost built an entire pit stop to those behind him. Well, he looked to simply just go for that overcut and make sure that he's completely covered off from behind should he somehow, some way make an error during this race. All signs point to the fact that he will not be doing that, but you never know in these races, especially around Singapore. Miggy and Mark, this is the battle for 8th. As these two 4-lap-old medium tires, 10-lap-old hard tires. Miggy starting the race on this tire. Mark having already stopped due to that earlier damage, as Young is going to pull into the pit lane. It was such a good opportunity for points for Racing Bull here tonight. They saw their man up as high as 5th at one point, but multiple spins has seen his race come to an end in the pit lane. Young has seen enough here this evening. And that will be it for the Scuderia. Miggy and Mark, that tire offset proving to be a difference maker, but Miggy has caught up to the other Williams of Dylan. He comes from attack from one Williams. He goes after to attack the other Williams. 8/10 now separating the Williams and the Alpine. These two are going to be squabbling now for 7th position, as Mark is going to try to make his teammates' life a little bit easier by getting past the Alpine of Miggy, but not to be this time. He'll have to wait for another opportunity. Could Dylan and Mark potentially be working together here to try and get Marcus? Oh, Miggy's going to send it. That wasn't quite the move. That was lucky not to send both cars spinning. No damage by the looks on either car, but warning shots across the bow to Dylan to either get a move on or get out of the way from the Alpine. DRS open for Miggy and Mark. Can Mark potentially make to look a move with the drag reduction system, as Mark can't quite get it in order? Dylan with a scruffy corner exit, and Miggy's going to take advantage, but Dylan back up the inside as they come in contact. There's contact between, I think, just the two of them. We didn't quite see as the camera cut away, but Miggy now, as Dylan is going to sink behind both his teammate and Miggy. Miggy, in one way, shape, or form, says, thank you very much. I'll take that 7th position off of you and contend with your teammate, whose tires will be degrading ever so slightly faster on the medium compound. You can imagine now Dylan, recipient of the drive-through penalty earlier, might go ahead and elect for a new set of tires. What is the strategy for those out here tonight? These two having been duking it out for a while. Mark there maybe trying to bait a defense out of Miggy. And Zonod and Aero Knight will go ahead and swap places. That position done right as the corner ended. A little bit of a power slide on the corner exit, but nevertheless, the Mercedes has the move done on the Sauber up into 5th spot. Miggy and Mark once more. Still the battle for 7th place. This one having raged on for a couple of laps, and Mark might need to be a little bit closer. As he's going to show him to the inside as the Alpine, then show him the outside. Oh, the Williams is going to be claiming he moved twice. He'll be saying, I just left him enough room. And fares to the Alpine, because he left just about a car's width for the Williams to potentially make the move. Knew that he was going to be under attack. Knew that the battery level is certainly higher than his in that Gulf livery. The Alpine, having no DRS, has to contend with those behind him, and quickly joining this fight. You can see in the background is his teammate of Legends, as Dex has called it a stint, 13 laps on the medium tire into the pit lane. He goes hard tire heading on. Can he come out ahead of this gaggle of cars? This will be an interesting one to watch. Can he come out ahead of Miggy? It looks like he's going to be able to. The Sauber of Aero Knight in as well. Next, doing a nice job not fixing that wing, but fresh rubber on the Red Bull. Manages to get out in front. You can see now the gaps are absolutely beginning to form across the rest of the grid. They're really the only battle that we have on track at the moment. Miggy and Mark. This has been raging on for the last 4 or 5 laps. But Edge now has built himself an entire pit stop gap to his championship rival of Capex. A dominating performance here on lap number 14, now 15, here in Singapore. And this area of the track is, Mark certainly knows better not to try any hasty moves into the hairpin. As Capex now into the pit lane, and will that be the signal that Edge needs to go ahead and pit his McLaren? Fresh hard tires heading on the Mercedes. It's a clean stop. He's out and away. He stay ahead of his teammate. Will the Mercedes potentially swap things around? To 7 maybe has an issue. It's the exit of the hairpin again. We've seen that multiple times this evening. The Ferrari not getting the power right, and he falls significantly behind the rest of the field. Strategies all over the place at the moment. You imagine at some point, if Capex does catch his teammate, that Mercedes will look to swap those cars around, but will Capex be bringing the Red Bull of Dex with him? Red Bull, they have pulled off a brilliant strategy call here to undercut the Mercedes. You can see the warm-up not quite where it needs to be on the Mercedes. He's still losing time to the Red Bull through this section of corners. You can see the light flashing on Dex's car, indicating that he's out of battery. There's our race leader into the pit lane. The hard tire being prepped by the McLaren pit crew. Off the mediums go, on the hards go. Another clean stop. And he is in miles and miles of space. A 32-second gap for when he came into the pits from Fernie. You can imagine he is going to try to take this compound to the end, barring any safety cars in the future. Meanwhile, this battle between Capex and Dex has become even more heated. What was a second is now 2/10. As the other Mercedes there zone out into the pit lane. You see that on the right-hand side of your screen. Capex and Dex, will they be fighting this one out down this straight? Not this time around, as they head through the first of 3 corners. Heading into turn 4. How close will that Red Bull be to the Mercedes? Long corner exit. Certainly not close enough to make any moves there. We'll go ahead, take a look at the other Red Bull who finds himself in a battle. Toasty, who we haven't had to talk about much tonight, has found himself in 6th place, with Legends and Mark tracking him down. The Alpine and the Williams have had, for lack of a better term, an interesting night, especially between the two of them. They find themselves here battling for 6th place along with Toasty. Man on the medium tire with a penalty in hand as well, which could absolutely factor into the end of this race. As you can see, Toasty just catching the Alpine of Miggy on 15-lap-old hard tires. They soon be battling for a top 5 place. And for sure, Legends and Mark will be saying, yep, bring us along. You've got that penalty. We'll be overtaking you if we can maintain this gap here at the end of the race. But still a long, long way to go. We're on lap 17 of 31. As you see CapEx come across the line there, 1.1 seconds ahead of the Red Bull of Dex. We'll go ahead, stick on this battle. Toasty now within a second, within DRS range of the man in 5th. You wonder when Miggy is going to head into the pit lane. It has been a mega stint on the hard compound tires so far. How much longer will Alpine want to drag this one? And want to leave their man battling these cars? Can they potentially help the other Alpine of Legends get past the Red Bull? Will that be the sign to get into the pit lane to bring their lead man in at this moment in time? We'll have to see how much teamwork takes place between the two Alpines. And it looks like we've lost Mark again. The second time in this session that Mark has either had a crash or some form. Good to see him go, as he's had again a rather interesting race. The focus now turns to Miggy, Toasty, and Legends. These three battling for 5th place. Toasty with that 3-second time penalty, going wide there on the exit is Miggy. Will that open the door for the Red Bull? The wing is open. The battery is depleted, however. And the Alpine, who goes wide again. The Red Bull now potentially smelling blood in the water. It's French blood. Can he get past the Alpine? DRS is open once more. Red Bull still no way past the slower Alpine. And as he does a massive spin, nearly takes out his teammate. And another reset to track causes evasion from Mark, causes evasion from Zonad. And into the pit lane, the Alpines are going to need a stern warning about resetting the track after this one. Both of them have fallen victim to doing just that. But promoted into 5th place, pending the time penalty, is the Red Bull of Toasty. A great result as things stand for Red Bull, a 4th and 5th, but Toasty will absolutely need to pit later on in this contest. But Legends, on the other hand, could he do the impossible? Drag these hard compound tires to the end of the race. He'd be racing on squares, but we've seen crazier things happen. As Miggy and Dylan have a nice little fight at the back. That one for 10th position. Head back to the battle, up for 5th. Both drivers, I believe, missing their front end plates. You see, that's actually a completely intact Red Bull wing and a completely intact Alpine wing as well. Toasty and Legends, 100% healthy cars, but have also gained the pace of Zonad as Toasty runs a little wide on the exit of that corner. Will that send an invitation to not just Legends, but Zonad as well? As Legends spins, he got the power down too soon, and he's definitely now down a significant amount of his wing. He's absolutely going to have to come into the pits once more. A crushing evening here for Alpine. Toasty also into the pit lane. You wonder if he was unaware maybe of that spin behind him. Would he have stayed out another lap? Regardless, Fernie out on track now. Fresh medium tires for the Ferrari. You would expect him to be able to head to the end of this race on that compound. He's carrying a penalty. We'll go ahead and check on exactly what it is now. It's 3 seconds. Toasty the only man with 6 seconds. We'll go ahead and grab our tires right back on the screen. Two Williams there. You can see in 9th and 10th swapping places as Mark into the pit lane once more. Mediums to the end of the race, surely, for the English outfit. And it's Zonad, who is 11 seconds adrift. Fernie there, you see, has the Mercedes in his sight. It's been a very tough night to be a fan of the Scuderia, but can Fernie make that night just a little bit better by getting past the Mercedes of Zonad, rescuing a few points, and keeping at least a little bit of a gap in the Constructors' Championship. See there, he's gaining. Not maybe as quick as he'd like, but he's still got 11 laps to work with. He has a 3-lap better differential than the Mercedes in front of him, who's also slowly catching the Red Bull of Dex, but I don't think we're going to be able to see anything at the end of this race. I believe Fernie may have just banged his wheel on that outside wall. This is our closest battle on track at the moment. You see Fernie deploying that energy to try to get into range of the Mercedes. See there, that light now flashing on the back of the Ferrari as Fernie doing a great job through that section of corners, using those fresher tires to bring him within striking distance. But Zonad, likely aware of that, is going to try to extend that gap once more to over a second. But I don't think it's going to happen. It's not going to happen. Fernie now successfully within DRS range, looking to line up a move on the Mercedes. Will it be in this quarter? Significantly too far back is that scarlet red car. DRS open once more. The newer DRS zone. Do they make contact with the back of the Mercedes? Regardless of which, Fernie promoting himself up into fourth. The pace that he has shown on this newer tire has been phenomenal, and it's been just enough to get him into fourth position and try and scoot away from Zonad in fifth. The Ferrari passing the Mercedes here on lap number 21. And he gained that 1 second gap. Not to be this time around. Will Zonad look to make a move once more? And where will that move be? It looks to be to the outside. The Mercedes to the outside has the move done. Nice work there from Zonad. Will they still fight this out? Not this time. Could the switchback be on for the Ferrari? Zonad's not going to allow it, showing him to the outside of the track. And the Ferrari of Fernie will have to fight another day, or will he? Side by side, only momentarily as they head into the thick of the middle sector. A little lockup there of the right front on that Ferrari. Even more lockups, trying to tee up a move out of the hairpin is Fernie. He'll have the courtesy of DRS. He'll have whatever battery life he has to play with. And Fernie not making a move this time, but DRS will reopen for the Ferrari here shortly. He's got the Mercedes in his sights. Will he make a move? And a place we've seen moves go well and moves go astray. He may have made contact with the wall there, just getting past the Mercedes. But can Zonad come back at the Ferrari? Not this time around. He'll get a helping of DRS down this straight. Will the Mercedes? The medium tire here on both cars, but 3 laps newer for Fernie, who's carrying a time penalty now of his own. I almost just noticed that, but Zonad might just go ahead and say, you know what? You go ahead. You stay past. Fourth position might be the best that I can do. I'm going to get that back with the time penalty. Or does he think that time penalty could always get removed? I better get this move done on track. As speaking of time penalties, Miggy down in 8th place goes ahead and collects one as well. And his battle with Arrow Knight, he goes ahead and gets that move done into turn 1. We just caught the end of that one. Glad we were there for that. Fernie now just trying to extend this gap over the Mercedes as Legends goes ahead and just rubs a little more salt into the wound of what started out as a phenomenal night for Alpine and has only gone south since, as more time penalties come raining in here. It was a beautiful qualifying from the Alpine, and then it all kind of went downhill from there. The elements may be favoring the Alpine driver, but here in the dry conditions, it is certainly not his night. Multiple spins, multiple crashes. I'm sure the stewards will be having a look at both Alpines here this evening. Only time will tell in that regard, but Fernie now has just built a little bit of a gap. We can go ahead and take a look at this battle for 8th place as we just catch the end of Harold Knight spinning, and he does a great job to park it up before he collects the wall, as we've seen so many do this evening. It might be the easiest position that Mark has gotten here, not just tonight, but all season, seeing the Alpine, or the Sauber in front of him spin out. The Williams of Mark up into 8th position. And for Williams, it's been a tough go since Zandvoort, where they picked up 38 points, only 4 points in the last 2 races. But Mark picking up points, Dylan picking up some points would certainly be handy here for them this evening. Harold Knight might be getting involved once more with Dylan. That hard tire doesn't look like it's suiting the Sauber all that well. Dylan in the distance there, not quite near enough. It's 7 now. Just trying to hang on to that 11th position. Every point crucial with the 2 Mercedes well within the points. Ferraris need to not just be looking in their rearview mirrors in this race, but need to be looking in their rearview mirrors as we head to Monza next week. The final 3 races of the season could be nail biters for the Constructors' Championship. Any points that 7 can get here, how massive would those be at the end of the season? Passing easily Dylan. Williams probably not all too interested in fighting with the Ferrari. The 7 now up into 9th position. And is now for 10th now, including Dylan and Legends. Is Dylan a little bit of oversteer on the exit of the corner? Is that going to open up potentially an opportunity for Legends on the soft tire? You wonder how long he can make the red-walled tire last. Probably not too much longer. Already 5 laps done on the softs. Can't imagine that they would last that much longer, but we're going to find out in his battle here shortly with Dylan. The Alpine, again, having a very rocky night, but he would love to cap it off with one more overtake this evening. He'd be in range to do just that. Looks to the outside. The Alpine has the move done. A top 10 for Legends at the time is currently what's on the cards, but he might be resuming that battle later with the soft tire tailing off as it's likely to do. Here still with 6 laps to go. You have to imagine that Dylan in the back of his head might even be just now pushing the Alpine around. I was going to say he might try to fight that battle later. You can see here Dylan just almost nudging the Alpine around the hairpin. A little bit of wing may have been lost there. You see Legends doesn't have that right front end plate there anymore. It's been mainly the left front end plate for the drivers here tonight that has gone missing, but it's the right one there for the Alpine, who has racked up probably a nice little bill at the shop tonight, having lost, I believe, 3 wings now. Has the Alpine. And Dylan looking to make the move. The Williams not able to make it this time. He'd love to make it a top 10 finish for his new team with Dylan. Can he get that position back now? His medium tire is likely in a little bit better shape than the softs. DRS open. Can he get the move done? We're right on board with him. He's still a significant ways back. But in all this, you can see in the background, Edge is looking to lap these two. It is not often that we see lapped traffic in a equal performance and 50% race, but you see there in the background the marshal waving the blue flag for these two to get out of the way of our race leader Edge, who's we haven't really had to talk about him all night because he's been so much quicker than everybody else. Now a 20-second gap as Oh, that could have nearly caused major issues. Legend spinning out of the hairpin, those soft tires fading away, nearly collecting edge. And what drama would that have brought to this race if our race leader, who without any controversy will head and grab his 4th win in a row. Sure, Edge is probably not going to be too happy with the Alpine spinning right in front of him, but nevertheless, he does seem unscathed, does the McLaren. Go ahead, and Legends has called it a day. Points are on the cards for the Alpine this evening, but he's seen enough. It was crashes, spins, everything of the likes for Legends this evening. Another evening that started out so very well for Alpine has ended in shambles once again. You can see him there. He'll be down 9 positions. For the man that started in the top 3, it certainly was a night to forget once more for the French outfit, as they still have a man running in 8th place, but more points on the card. It's certainly not going to be the case anymore. Speaking of the Alpines, Miggy and Mark, they've had their fair share of battles tonight. Miggy will look to try and have one more, as we've maybe stranded somebody at the corner of the track. Oh, Miggy's collected the wall, and he hit the wall hard as he is spinning off. I can begin to tell you what happened there, and that is right on the racing line. And where is Edge? He's about to come through this corner. He needs to make sure he doesn't hit the other Alpine. He'll probably think the Alpines are looking to take him out in this race, but Miggy there losing his wing. Very lucky not to lose his wheel, as he's going to lose an entire race. He's been disqualified there. You wonder if that kind of... Oh my goodness, that could have been awful. I have no idea who just came through there. It might have been, I think it was Capex actually. I probably just saw his life flash before his eyes. And again, we were just talking about Alpine squandering opportunities at major points, as Miggy, he worked so hard to get himself up the field, only to see himself disqualified from the race. It's heartbreak for Alpine, and it's a double DNF here in Singapore. As Dex will go ahead and lap the Sauber of Aero Knight. Go ahead and find the nearest battle, this being all we can really get. Dex and Ferdy, 2.6 seconds apart. That medium tire could come into play here at the end of this one, but that time penalty that Ferdy carries, likely to hinder any progress onto the podium for the Ferrari. As well, fresh soft tire for the Mercedes, saying, well, I've got nothing more to lose in this race. Maybe trying to punch in that fastest lap is Zonad, and if he can do just that, it would certainly inspire a little bit more confidence in Mercedes. The fact that they can gain even more ground on Ferrari tonight, with 7 down in 8th place and burning as high as 4th, but Capex there in 2nd place. He's got that one locked up. It would be very difficult to dethrone him from that position. A fastest middle sector there for Zonad. You can tell that he is absolutely going for a fastest lap here, whether it's this lap or next lap. He is flying on that soft tire. No more fuel in that car for sure, with only a couple laps remaining in this one. the Mercedes is absolutely going to try to set a fastest lap here. You can see a fastest final sector as well. So if he can just cap that one off with the fastest first sector here, we'll go ahead and keep an eye on. There's not a whole lot taking place out on track at the moment. The closest battle is Dex and Fernie as he slams the rear wheel on the wall to that one. Zonon a fastest first sector. That fastest lap could absolutely come into play here. It's not going to have an effect on the final position, but it's always nice getting that fastest lap as the driver, just knowing that you at one point were the fastest man on track tonight. Go ahead and take a look here. We'll try to stick on board with Zonon as he heads through the end of the middle sector. Is that a fastest middle sector? He just put in the fastest middle sector, but not this time around. A little bit of oversteer on the exit of the corner, but we'll go ahead and switch off of that because Dex and Fernie could be having a little battle. Is it for the podium? Is it not? Only the stewards will be able to tell you if that penalty that Fernie carries will be removed. It's 3 seconds if he's able to prove that he's innocent. And it's on a confirmation there. The fastest lap to Mercedes, a 32.2, puts Zonon as the fastest man out on track this evening. Fernie now looking to make that move. It'll be the final podium position for these two, but which one will get it? The Red Bull or the Ferrari? Ferrari could absolutely use the points that Fernie could potentially give them with a third place finish as Hedge crosses the line for the final time this evening. We begin the final lap of the race. We'll watch this battle as it continues to rage on. 4/10 now is the gap. Can Fernie have a look down the inside? Not this time around. He looked to make the move down that long straight down the back. We look to make the move down the pit straight. Doesn't look to be the case. That red light flashing indicating a lack of power that the Ferrari can deploy. While that battle rages on, the man who's dominated all evening, and it's not just this evening, it was last week, the week before, and the week prior as well. Edge with a 23.5-second gap is going to go ahead and make some history tonight. The first driver to win 4 races in a row as he heads around the final couple of corners. He won last week in Bahrain, the week before in Monaco, before that in Zandvoort. It's Edge and the McLaren who wins here tonight in Singapore. He makes it 4 in a row, the first to do it. He can hang his hat on that one. We'll go ahead and switch back to this battle for third place. You can see there, that's Dex and Fernie as Capex coming across the line. An important second place to maintain reach within the Drivers' Championship, but also for Mercedes and the Constructors' Championship to continue gaining ground on Ferrari. Speaking of Ferrari, can they make up any more points here? Fernie's going to go for it, but not to be. It's going to be 4th position for Ferrari. It'll be Dex on the final step of the podium for Red Bull as we head to... where are we headed next week? We head to Monza next week. And they'll take a load of confidence as Toasty now, with those penalties in hand. Zonon's done a great job to catch back up after getting that fastest lap. Toasty comes across the line. He finishes in 5th, but overtaken due to penalties by Zonon. Relegated to 6th is the Red Bull. 7th can come across the line now in his namesake. A 7th place for the Ferrari man on what has been a very polarizing night for many drivers. as that will do it for those who finished on the lead lap. An Edge, another commanding, dominating performance here this evening for McLaren. It's a shame they couldn't get a second man out on track. They would have had a boatload of points if they could. The Constructors' Championship maybe still out of reach for them, but the Drivers' Championship now firmly swings the way of Edge as we head into the final 3 races of the season. CapEx is going to say, what do I need to do to beat this guy who's in an absolute rocket ship of a McLaren? Time will only tell with 3 rounds to go. And you see there, it was just the one stop that Edge needed to get that done. A 24.2 second victory here in Singapore in the night sky, as we lost multiple drivers on this race. Legends Young, U6, NASCAR Freak, and Miggy getting disqualified late on. You see there, Zonot coming from 13th to finish in 5th. Certainly driver of the day shouts will head that way towards the Mercedes main. And another night that reigns papaya orange for McLaren. Mercedes will certainly enjoy their night, having jumped up right next to Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship. Until then, thank you very much for watching. We will see you next week in Italy.